Welcome aboard, everybody, to the brand new year. It is January 1st as I record this, doing exactly what I want to do, which is farm in my kind of style, super, ultra, hyper speed juicing Crimson Temple for Divination cards, most notably the Apothecary card. I want to help share with you guys how I really make currency in the league. Outside of God Touch farming last league, honestly, for like the past 4 or 5 leagues, the kind of farm that I'm showcasing today is almost exactly, I mean, there's very slight variations, but basically exactly the way that I farm most of my currency throughout an entire league. This is how people farm multiple Apothecary cards in a day with relative consistency. If you actually did do this basically all day, you would pretty consistently get multiple Apothecaries every day. And I am lining up 100 Crimson Temple maps, which means I may or may not get an Apothecary with only 100 maps, but I should, which we'll talk about in a little bit here. There's a perception out there that when you're juicing maps, it invariably means that you're spending more time in the map. You know, more juice, more time. Alch and Go is reserved for, or the best way, rather I should say, the best way to do Alch and Go is to do a really fast variation of whatever it is Alch and Go. But I'm here to tell you today that you can have the best of both worlds. You can actually juice maps up in a very particular way, while also being extremely fast at clearing the map. And that is basically my biggest secret to how I run maps and how I farm so much currency in the league. That and actually playing the game almost daily, of course. Not really no lifing it, but you know, I don't just play for like 1 or 2 weeks and then quit. We'll just put it that way. We are getting into about the 3rd week of the league here, and what you're looking at on the screen is, again, very typical Atlas tree featuring shrines, strongbox, essence, in this case, delirium, and no beyond. It occurred to me somewhat recently, and I got some collaboration in the community that I'm not seeing any map-specific divination cards, or maps for that matter, dropping off of Beyond minions now with the change to Beyond last league. I just kind of took it for granted, and you know, I knew Beyond monsters could drop divination cards, but they only drop Beyond specific divination cards, it appears. I've been looking at this really closely, having things like the Opulent and the Gambler on my radar in the Crimson Temple, which are multiples of each drop in every single map, but I'm not finding any irrefutable evidence that, for example, an Apothecary could ever drop from a Beyond monster. So with that being the case, I am pulling out of Beyond, and I'm basically not running it all that much. It's still a great mechanic. It's a great way to make currency adjacent to whatever you're doing, so if you can just fit it in for free, that's fine. I had somebody in the chat here say you should go Harbingers for Divination, so I'm glad you actually point that out, because that's kind of what I want to talk about here. So when I talk about going as fast as you possibly can with, you know, juicing the maps, that means giving up basically every single mechanic or league mechanic that takes any time whatsoever to do, more than just a split second of time. You notice Essence. Well, if you do enough damage, Essence takes essentially no time. Strongbox, obviously that's the primary method of pulling divination cards, absolutely takes 0 time to do. I mean, there are a lot of strong boxes and you gotta click each one once, but I mean, basically click. You know, in this case, I'm running Caustic Arrow, click, Caustic Arrow's already down, everything's dead. Eater of Worlds, you know, of course you can put the influence on for the altars, also die instantly. Delirium monsters, die instantly. Beyond monsters also, I mean, depending on the delay and whether you're doing like damage over time ground like Caustic Arrow or not, also die basically instantly, but again, I just mentioned why I'm not doing Beyond. And then that's it. Unfortunately, Legion takes time. Breach takes time. Abyss, very good, very juicy, can drop divination cards, takes way too much time. Harbingers, I think if I were to juice it up a little bit harder, maybe run the Winged Divination Scarab, and go ahead and settle for staying a little while longer in each map, Harbinger would probably be my first choice here, especially with a tree like this, because I could sub out Essence for Harbinger instead. I would definitely get more divination cards and more loot per map on a map basis, but again, that's kind of the crux of what I'm talking about today, is stop focusing so much on per map, start focusing more on per time. I don't know yet what the amount of time it's going to take for me to do these 100 maps, but it's basically going to be the fastest 100 map session I've ever ran on stream, because I really can't set up an Atlas to go faster than this. And I have the character to do it. I have basically one of the fastest characters I've ever had, and I'm going to be running, specifically tailoring my farming strategy to be as fast as I possibly can be. We're going to be running double shrines, essentially. We have Domination on the map device, which is something we don't get every league. And then, of course, elevated Gloom shrine to help supplement just blowing everything up instantly and basically becoming, you know, a supercharged occultist, getting that free ascendancy, profane bloom for no price, essentially. The price of a sextant, I guess. What makes this strategy so particularly amazing is it's actually really hard to, you know, you can't just add a ton of shrines on the map. There's not, you know, like Legion and Breach and all these have ways to add a whole bunch more through little passive points, small nodes. Shrines and essences and strong boxes do not, though. So the secret way to add, to force more onto the map, is to simply block everything. So if you block everything, you're increasing the chance to spawn strongbox, essence, and shrines by 20% apiece, as well as, you know, anything else that's not on, that you don't have blocked. But in this case, those are the only 3 ones that I care about. So I actually do get bonuses on there. Definitely get some extra value out of that. Delirium is particularly difficult to run on Crimson Temple, and this is kind of the higher, I guess, you know, it certainly requires a certain speed of a character, a certain skill cap, and familiarity with the Crimson Temple layout to be able to successfully rush the boss, come back, clear out the side wings, and get to the front end before the Delirium Mirror even really begins to move, without even delaying the mirror via, you know, King Harbingers or Legions or anything like that, because those, again, take time. So I'm going to showcase exactly how I do that, and, you know, I think it actually got a little easier this league. If I'm not mistaken, we have a little bit added power in the Delirium Mirror, extending faster, more quickly, as well as delaying longer with extra 10 seconds, 16 seconds delay before it even starts, and dissipating slower. I can't quite recall the Atlas passive before that. But yeah, that's what this video is all about. Again, showing you the reality of just how fast you can run these maps. This perception versus reality is not really specific to this league or this league mechanics. It's more something that's been around, in my opinion, for multiple leagues going on straight. And still, just so many people just don't realize that you can run maps this way. So let's get started here, and I'll show you the investment costs in a moment. Let's take a look. We got an Elder Scarab. Now, why in the world would I choose Elder Scarab? Really? An Elder Scarab over a Harbinger Scarab? Or what? A Reliquary Scarab over a Reliquary Scarab doesn't even have monsters on the map. Well, I don't want to add monsters to the map if they're going to take extra time. There's no other option. I mean, what other option do I actually have? Tell me the Scarab on this list that I can add that doesn't add time to the map, that's going to give me more value than a Reliquary Scarab. And you basically can't. There's nothing on there. I mean, maybe a Torment Scarab. Perhaps Beast would be a pretty good bet, I guess. Beast might be good. But everything else is just going to get in the way of clearing the map more quickly. That's why I chose the Elder Scarab, because it's instant. And that's why, you know, Reliquary Scarab, I am running some Magic Find. We are going to be getting tons of Covetous Shrines, too, because this is like a double shrine strategy. We're getting extra Covetous Shrines on here, which are going to help increase the rarity, which will synergize with Reliquary. I am running some Magic Find gear, very, very low amount. All I have is a crafted suffix here, the Divination Distillate, a 30% increase effect of those flasks, by the way, and then a mediocre Ventur's Gamble, basically. That's basically all I have as far as rarity. I think with the Covetous Shrine, I have a little over 200% rarity, though. All right, so those are the Scarabs that we're choosing. Of course, the other 2 Scarabs, mandatory Divination Scarab and Ambush Scarab. Now, I chose Winged Ambush Scarab. Yes, that's right. I'm actually doing Winged Ambush Scarab. That's mainly because the enraged Sextants getting kind of expensive. It's almost 100 chaos apiece for it. And, you know, doing the math, a little bit of soft math, I realized that the difference between Gilded and Winged Strongbox Scarab, you know, you get 4 extra strong boxes. Only paying about 4 chaos per strongbox, 3 or 4 chaos per strongbox, absolutely worth doing. Winged Scarabs are cheaper than they've ever been this league, it would seem. And I'm a little bit on the fence about running Winged Divination Scarab, but I probably would if I did go ahead and do Harbingers. So certainly you could alter the strategy. Go ahead and run Harbingers. Probably Winged Divination Scarab would be best to put in here. But again, this one's going to be all about the speed of it. Now, you might think to yourself, you know, speed's great and all, but that just means you have to spend more time on the back end getting materials ready for stuff. I mean, kinda. Or you could, you know, do what I did recently and ran colony maps on the 8-mod Corrupted Sextant, and I got over 10 maps per map. You know, I ran 48 maps in a colony. This is what I got out of it. Almost, you know, more than half of a quad tap full. I mean, actually, almost an entire quad tap full, counting all these here for that. So that wasn't hard to get. For the record, I priced these Crimson Temple maps. I did go ahead and upscale the investment cost on them, basically doubling their value from 4 to 8 chaos. There is a little bit of a market on TFT, but it's kind of wonky. There's not really... definitely nothing really specific that you can, you know, coin the cost on there. Some people have suggested at least 10 or 20 chaos apiece. It's absolutely not true. You'd have a hard time buying them at all. You have a hard time selling them. Both the demand and the supply is very low, so most people just go ahead and acquire their own the hard way or the easy way, depending on how you look at it, by running their own maps and rolling their own or getting their own from the 8-mod Corrupted Sextant. Speaking of Sextants, we are running the Elevated Gloom Shrine. No reason not to run Elevated. It's very cheap, plentiful in supply. For the additional free shrine, which will give me an extra 2 shrine effects in the map, one of which could be a Covetous Shrine. Next one will be Corrupt and Rare Strongbox. That's why this notable is not taken. Tamper-proof does not need to be taken. That's a question that comes up sometimes because of this Sextant is on here permanently, so we don't need it. Then enraged strongbox. Okay, this is the expensive Sextant of the list. It's about almost 100 chaos apiece. I think I priced it around 95 chaos apiece right now. And then we got Delirium Mirror, which is kind of interesting because Delirium Mirror is on the map device here for 10 chaos, which actually works out in our favor. It means that the Sextant's a lot cheaper this league than usual. They're only 20 chaos apiece, and you can buy them in like infinite bulk supply at that price. So that is everything there to start with. And of course a few remnants of corruption. Let's go down to this part here. Real quick, I want to show you the weightings on this. So I'm going to be tracking gamblers. I sometimes do this. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to put this spreadsheet down in the description below. And this is kind of the best information we have. This was done back in Sentinel League, but a group of players opened thousands of stacked decks. They got the weightings of the cards. They seem to hold true. I mean, if they're map-specific cards weighted against each other, I think they have the same weighting in stacked deck fashion as they do dropping in a given map. You can see 7 years bad luck right there, 67. Enlightened, 74. And the Apothecary down here at an 11. For the record, you can see like let's see, it's got the Doctor card at 29. Yeah, I've always thought the Doctor card was about 3 times as common of a drop as the Apothecary as well, so that seems to check out pretty well. And then all the way up here, we have the Gambler at 4,937. So if you divide 4,937 divided by 11, you get 449. There's 449 Gambler cards, essentially equals an Apothecary card. And I'm telling you this because for 2 reasons. One, so we're going to, at the end, I'm going to, of course, normalize the drop, because instead of doing I don't really have to do 1,000 runs with strategy to kind of prove how many Apothecaries you're going to get. I can simply do like 100 or less, really. Probably could get away with doing less, but I'm going to do 100, and then I'm going to normalize the Apothecary drops based on that. You're going to see you're probably going to have over 500 Gambler cards after 100 maps, which means I should be getting at least 1 Apothecary card every 100 maps, which is essentially like an extra, I don't know, 55 Divine Orbs of value. So whether we get 1 or not, we can kind of see either way, because I might get 2, I might get 1, I might get 0. I haven't gotten 1 in a while, actually, to be honest. So I'm definitely on the unlucky end at the moment, present time. But I still have faith in that the system works, that the cards drop, because I can see the cards dropping, and you can track your progress too. And, you know, this is also kind of addressing a perception that, you know, does the Apothecary card really exist? What is the actual progress of getting an Apothecary card to drop? I would challenge you to do some Alch and Go maps and see just how many Gambler cards you're getting. Turn around and do this strategy right here and see just how many more Gambler cards you're getting. And that should tell you everything you need to know about just how impactful at least strongbox enraged divination card farming is, compared to essentially anything else. And do it in a delirium mirror too, and you'll notice even more benefit out of that. So back to this here. I think I can close that now. All right, last I checked, the number came up with 17.6. Oh, okay, mysteriously went up. Okay, 18.09, and now the investment cost for the Sextants and the added cost for bulk pricing, especially with the maps, is 15.78. So we take this number plus that number, and that is the investment cost total. Okay, these numbers from here before were from a different test. So we'll get rid of those. Okay. So what does that equal per map? Well, let's find out right now. It's 245 chaos per divine, 100, and we're looking at a cost of 83 chaos per map. Now that doesn't sound too bad. Definitely a little higher than recently because prices have gone up, but yeah, still looks pretty good. All right, I think that settles that. So we're getting started with the first map.
I can't do this just yet.
Okay, and again, this is a caustic arrow champion with low life, prep to go tornado shot in the near future. Still planning to do it, but I'm sticking with caustic arrow for a little while longer because been a lot of fun. And I'm just now starting to get a little tired of it, so it's going to work out nicely. Domination 3. Chaos contains 3 additional shrines. This is 6 random shrine effects, guys. This is Acceleration Speed Shrine, Echoist Shrine, Diamond Shrine for Tornado Shot. That'll be really nice. The Resistance Shrine, extremely good. All kinds of different shrine effects that are... Oh, Invulnerability Shrine, for that matter, is also good there. Eater of Worlds, and we're off. Nothing chosen down here. Map number 1. Let's time things out. Of course, I'm going to keep track of the time. 59% pack size, pretty good. Actually, pretty close to Wandering Path setup. I have done some testing, by the way, on kind of like Wandering Path versus not, versus Delirium versus Beyond versus Hunted Traders, and subbing out some of the Sextants, sticking with the core strategy. And this, to me, Fortune Favors the Brave setup is not too bad, but I think the amount of speed and efficiency you get out of just doubling down on shrines works out even better than anything else, really. So you can see, you know, I could have deviated a little bit more from the path and gone way out there and gotten the other shrine effects. Sometimes I do that, sometimes not. But here we go, already done here with this boss. It was just kind of frozen in its delirium status there. Of course, going to pick up any shrines, or altars rather. Uniques duplicated works out nicely with a Reliquary Scarab, obviously. I already got a Covetous Shrine, already got a Movement Speed Shrine, and you can see that this is kind of going to look like the normal picture on a given map. I mean, honestly, like, probably more often than not, I am going to have these shrines, the Movement Speed Shrine and everything. Okay, gotta be careful not to stand in one spot too long. Divination card duplicated by 49%. It's very nice. Very, very nice. Alright, the map is basically cleared, opened up. I've checked where all the altars spawn. Now, I'm backtracking. Essentially, I've started just backtracking the route that I came to begin with. It's very easy to remember where I've been, because it's actually really important. You can get lost in the Crimson Temple if you start running around a little too much. And you can also lose your Rampage. So I've kept Rampage up this whole time. I've had 1,000 stacks of Rampage. That's 50% increased movement speed right there. Cannot be discounted. 50% movement speed. I saved this guy for later after I got a bunch of buffs in case he was going to be a little hard to kill. Still got plenty of time left. Just got nothing left to do except run down the middles here. And this map's, I mean, basically done. Just got to pick up the loot now. Everybody wishing me happy New Year. Yeah, Happy New Year, guys. It's nice to see you all. Oh, I did miss a strongbox there. Okay, so it's kind of important to open the strongbox under the effect of Delirious if you can, because it adds more quantity to the monsters. I'm still unsure as to whether or not that's additive or multiplicative with the enraged section. If Delirium is multiplicative, which honestly, guys, it kind of feels like it is, because I notice more drops when I'm running a Delirium mirror quite a bit, and even from like strongbox monsters. Yeah, so actually I missed 2 strong boxes there, so and then of course we're gonna have reopens sometimes. Acceleration speed shrine gone, and that's it. Map's over. Pretty fast. It's under 3 minutes per map for sure. And I'm not using dumb tab A. We're going to use dumb tab B. We can already see that I got, what, 4 gambler cards? Okay, 4 gambler cards in that map. So I'll be getting more than 4 usually, because that would be, you know, 400 gambler cards if I got 4 every map, which would be less than 1 apothecary. I'm pretty sure what we're going to end up with is probably at least 4 per map. Question in the chat, are you still in Headhunter team after Kobe video? I definitely don't think Headhunter is anything super special with Caustic Arrow. Like, I would rather have a Mage Blood for this spec right here, because I'm not getting any effect of the positive offensive side of Headhunter, really. But definitely for Tornado Shot, Fizz to Cold or Fizz to Element, I can't imagine a Headhunter not being very strong there. If you get even like, the moment you get like, really honestly, like even your first offensive buff for Headhunter, it kind of makes it better than Mage Blood, really, at that point. Up until the point where you get your first offensive, you know, Fizz gained as extra buff, maybe before that point, you know, a Mage Blood is beating a Headhunter. But honestly, like the moment you get that, because it's 50%, it's Fizz gained as, like it's 50% physical gained as extra lightning, 50% physical gained as extra cold. I mean, it's just so much that you can't hardly reckon with that. Okay, it looks like I got no acceleration speed shrine this map. A little bit unfortunate, but I got a mini one right here, so that's okay. So here we go. We're doing the bracket here. We got a double Divine Orb drop from inside a strong box. That's one good reason to go Winged Ambush Scarab. I kind of didn't hit this real hard, but like one of the big reasons I go for a strategy like this, I would go Winged Ambush but not Winged Divination, which may sound a little strange to people. Because first of all, 2 reasons. One, the difference between Gilded and Winged is much smaller for Ambush than it is for Divination. But 2, strong boxes are still very strong, even outside of the Enraged, Sextant, and Divination card drops specifically. They still have a lot of drops for themselves. Adding 4 strong boxes is adding your chance of getting an operative strong box, is adding your chance of getting a duplicated Divine Orb drop like I got there. Still has a lot of added value. So the fact that a Winged Ambush Scarab is only, what, like 15 chaos more than a Gilded one for 4 additional strong boxes, 15 chaos, especially if you're running Enraged, which, you know, can result in added uniques, added divines, added stuff dropping from the monsters themselves. Again, not just Divination cards drop from the monsters that spawn there. They have massive quantity multipliers for everything that can drop in the game. Global. That's super huge, and it was kind of brought to my attention by a viewer. They said, why don't you think about that? And I started thinking about it a little more. I was like, you know what? You're absolutely right. That's, you know, my reality was, or my perception was shattered a little at that moment. I was like, what? You know, just because I'm not running a Gilded Divination doesn't mean I can't, or just because I'm not running Winged Divination doesn't mean I can't run Winged something else. You know, certainly could be fine. Okay, so this map is done. Check for 10% Sedimas. I did get a 10% Sedimas, so that's a good item. There it is, map number 2, finished. See how many gamblers I'm at. No, now suddenly I'm at 13 gamblers. So apparently, 13 minutes. Apparently I got 9 gambler cards that map. So you can kind of see how it's going to shake up. It's going to be different every map. I don't think there'll be a single map where I get 0 gambler cards. It could happen, but it'd be very unlikely. Here we go, map number 3. Oh yeah, you get extra projectiles. I forgot about that. It's a great point from the viewer right there. Extra projectiles, and then the Headhunter buffs don't really impact this build hardly at all. Extra projectiles, that is. Very little impact. But yeah, the amount of impact it has for Tornado Shot is, well, you all know how. I don't think I need to make a separate video on that. It's like this. It's basically the strongest attribute of all. Reliquary Scarab paying off there. Maybe. Unless it's at the very, very beginning of the map, I usually don't choose the minion mods on this, even like the decent one, like Divination, chance to drop Divination cards that give currency or whatever. I'd rather choose... I do actually pay attention to the quality of the rolls, though, because sometimes you get like a really badly rolled Quant Altar and a really well-rolled Minion Div Altar. Oh, map number 3, Enlightened. How about that? How about that? Okay, here we go. I'd say if you ran... If you ran like 10,000 Crimson Temple maps like this, you would... There'd be no way you could get so unlucky that you wouldn't see an enormous number, like a significant number of apothecary drops by then. It's just you can't really have a bad RNG string that long. It would be really odd. Oh, I am going to do. Yeah, I have decided you need to do that first Sanctum run. I'm gonna do that. We'll make a big deal out of that on live stream, and then you know, we'll make a highlight video out of that. Yeah, I pay attention to so his results are actually pretty normal, except if there was any of those runs that did not include, you know, at least Gilded, another Enlightened on the 4th map now, that did not include what I wanted to say is the enraged Sextant and Gilded, at least Gilded Scarabs. So if he's doing like all Gilded, enraged Sextant, enraged Gilded Divination, and basically anything else on the map, I absolutely believe that. That sounds perfectly within the realm of normality. 1 every 90 maps. I mean, that's where I think I'm going to be at. I'm probably going to be at 1 every 70 to 80 maps right now, especially with the Delirium plus Winged Ambush. And now removing Beyond, and now that I realize Beyond probably cannot drop map-specific div cards. I'm hoping that I'm closer to like if I'm supposed to get an apothecary once every 80 maps, I'm going to be pretty happy with that result. That's kind of my goal. Which means I'm hoping to see something like 600 gambler cards in 100 maps. I think that would be a pretty good benchmark. If I get 600 gambler cards, that's going to be a good sign that this is a really, really good strategy, and especially, you know, being able to do this like once every 3 minute maps. Dragonheart? What? I guess I gotta add that one on the list, huh? Damn. Yeah. I just got trolled by the game. It was like, oh, so you're just gonna forget about me, huh? And then it drops Dragonheart. Dragonheart's only 3 times more common than the Apothecary, by the way. So every time I see a Dragonheart, I kind of feel like shit a little bit, because you're at the point where it's the same rarity level as a Doctor card, apparently, or very close to it. It's kind of hard to believe, but. Could always use Sanctums while you're doing this too, and be chasing. Oh my god, another light. Okay, so that is actually the 4th map in a row that I've gotten a major divination card. Pretty hot streaking start here to start with. Bit uncharacteristic, but you know, they kind of all pale in comparison to the apothecary's value anyway. So it doesn't even give me dopamine seeing like an enlightened card. There's no more dopamine for that card. Oh my god. Okay, I got a little bit of dopamine on that one, because that's pretty sure that's actually worth a lot if it hits 5%. Reliquary Scarab for the win. Raw Divine, Raw Exalt, Gladiator Plate, Enlightened. It's all dropping on this map. Damn. Yeah, you start feeling good about, you know, divination card farming if you just go farm colonnades, because it's a nice balance of RNG value and like you're guaranteed, you're basically guaranteed to make decent currency there farming colonnade. Like if you actually calculate the investment cost and see how much the patient card's worth, and you realize, oh, okay, I'm investing this much in the Divination Scarab and the Ambush Scarab, and you know, this much in the enraged section, the strongbox section, and then you realize that the patient cards are like overwhelmingly by themselves, they're overwhelmingly paying off that investment cost. You're like, okay, I see, this is pretty nice. We have just got a red star behind me, which means I did not see it drop, but I see it's there. The mystery red star. Not from a strongbox either, so that's a little rare. Right, or did I can't remember if I hit a strongbox yet or not. I'm about to see it. What the god? Oh, another red star behind me. Another divine orb. What? Oh my god. So disappointing, man. Actually disappointing when the red star is a divine orb. That's nothing special. Just the divine orb. Well, at least I can say the divine orb's holding strong against my exalt count. No, I'm not doing Wandering Path. I tested it, extend. I've done so... You guys don't even know how much Wandering Path testing I've done with variants of this kind of strategy. It's pretty close to even, but it makes the maps a lot harder and far easier to brick, and then you can't get like as many shrine effects on top of that. They're more dangerous by virtue of fewer shrine effects and like that whole thing, so it's like a double whammy on your defensive layers. I really don't like it. And in the end, like the numbers that come out pretty even. I think Wandering Path is like maybe a tiny bit better. Only it's such a tiny amount though, if at all. It was a discernible difference to me. I was tracking opulence and gambler cards for that. Gloom Shrine, where are you? There you are. Ooh. Red star. Enlightened again. Last league at one point I was throwing a 20% delirium on 8 mod pre-corrupted maps that I would only run if they were 8 modded. Oh, red star down there in the back after the map was finished. And I'm gonna die right here. That's great. Yeah, so, you know, I did do that in a sort of all-in, God-touched apothecary farming strat last league, which was actually a lot of fun, but it was rough. The dragon's hard again.
I can't do this just yet.
Eldritch Chaos. Well, at least it's not an exalted orb.
I can't do this just yet.
Oh man, big win again. Come on, game, won't you give me one apothecary? I'm so overdue. Massively over. Oh, there's a red star down there. Interesting timing. Feel the heart rate. The dopamine injector with its hand on the trigger. Ready for it. Huh? What? Why? Why? That's like exactly the same thing as finding a 7 years. I'm like, what? It's corrupted? No! I didn't see that. Oh no. Oh, that's so annoying because like an enhanced corrupted is not even worth picking up. But this is still like 80 chaos. At least I got those essences of delirium, right?
Didn't even break us.
High shrine reliance strategy. Focusing on shrines and speed and trying to put essentially as few time consuming. Oh god. So lovely to get that one-upped enlightened support from inside the box. Yeah, a little distracted there. So it's of my opinion that the most lucrative farming strats require you to focus more on time spent, not like currency per time, not currency per map. This is the big mistake a lot of people make. You do have to factor in time it takes to gather materials when you're doing this, when you're thinking about it this way too, which is adds a lot more variables obviously, but assuming the strategy you're doing isn't one that's terribly time consuming to pick up the materials, that's good. And the Scarabs are more readily available than ever before. The Sextants are all pretty easy to get, although the enraged strongbox Sextant is a little bit hard to get or expensive anyway. It's not really hard to get, it's just actually a little bit expensive. Wait. Whoa, what do we have here? This card again. I'm not gonna take a plane trip, knock on the door and say, hey, I'm Snoo, the greatest streamer in Path of Exile. I hereby request entry. What exactly am I supposed to do?
My spirits are spent.
Unique conversion, I guess. these two dropped completely separate from one another. Doriani's prototype and Aegis Aurora actually dropped on top of each other, but completely independently. Because one of them's white sockets, the other's not. I think they were both from two separate conversions. Wild. Sad Aurora's not expensive anymore. Are you kidding me? Doriani's prototype is the one that's actually not expensive anymore. It was like 6 divines last league. It's worth basically nothing now. At least Aegis Aurora is still worth, I don't know what, like a divine or more at least, right? Or did it drop completely down? No, it's still like 3 divines almost. Do the Sanctum. You know what? I refuse to do the Sanctum until I drop another Apothecary card. How about that? No Sanctums without the Apothecary card dropping. Notice I didn't say I will do the Sanctum once an Apothecary drops. I said I'm not doing it until. So that's like minimum stipulation. So an Apothecary could drop and I still don't do it because of how I worded it. Just keep that in mind. Oh my god, finally, first one of the league. Jesus. I don't know how many spider silk chests I've looked at. I've got to looked at least 100 of them before I finally found that. At least 100. I've scrolled my cursor across and finally got it. I actually do wonder if they nerfed the drop rate on that one. So if you want, so like for example, let's say I had 7 Harbingers in this map and 3 of them were King Harbingers. I'm sitting here with 1 minute 20 seconds remaining on an acceleration speed shrine. Same thing for the Gloom shrine. Same thing for the Covetous shrine. Well, the problem with doing this strat and then putting a whole bunch of monsters and things that take time to kill on the map is the shrines are not going to last full time. The shrines are going to expire well before I finish this map, which has a lot of ramifications. Covetous shrine expires early, I don't get all the value out of that. The speed shrine falls early, especially going to be especially painful later on when I have to run back and pick up the loot. Okay, it's really, really nice to have a speed shrine still on me when I'm in the looting phase of the map. That is like a ton of time saved. The alternative is I can loot on the go, which my loot filter is tight enough. I could probably loot on the go. I do it a little bit, but it doesn't. It sometimes backfires a little bit, especially when it comes to focusing on the route and where I've been and not losing track of that. Is one of the huge advantages to having a super tight loot filter is that, look at this, I mean, I barely have to pick up anything. You know? But you can see the Gloom Shrine expires right now, and the map is done. Speed Shrine already expired as I finished looting it. I mean, the timing is just flawless. Just flawless timing, basically. To get done with that map, I mean, it was like 2 minutes, almost 2 minutes flat. And that is a lot of monsters I killed in like 2.5 minutes. I just didn't put anything on the map that takes a little extra time to do it. So I earned less currency per map than if I had added Harbingers instead of Essence, for example. But I did not... I definitely don't think I earned less currency per minute in that case. Just that all things considered. 6-7 years bad luck is about the same as 1 Apothecary. 7 Enlightened cards is about the same as 1 Apothecary. 3.5 Dragon Hearts is about the same as 1 Apothecary. 449 Gambler cards is the same as 1 Apothecary. This is something like 1100. Wow, double red star on the side. 1100 Opulence, the same as 1 Apothecary. So it's just all kinds of different angles you can look at it and different ways you can test. And for the sake of the YouTube video, I will be linking that document in the description below. And I have every reason to believe those numbers are right. Now, they're not going to be 100% right because there's obviously some RNG and variance there, but really? I got 2 separate 7 years bad luck from the same strongbox. Okay. It's a double, not double 7 years bad luck drop. Okay. You know what's crazy is this is like... We're over halfway done with the farm. That's only the 2nd and 3rd 7 years bad luck I got. I was sitting really unlucky on those up to this point. Still sitting unlucky on them with only 3. A little bit. Now my RNG on those is about caught back up. Enlightened. Alright. What is that, map conversion? LOL map conversion. Apothecary, let's go. Come on. I said it as an enlightened drop. Come on, man. Man, that dopamine injector was like on tilt there for a second when I said that, and as a red star drop, I was like, I'm pretty sure I read the text the something something on there. I was like, oh. Well then, here it is, the results of 100 maps speed juicing, Crimson Temple. Alright, we have dump tab A is all of my backup maps, which do not count at all. That dump tab being ignored, but we have dump tab B here with all of this. Dump tab C, a lot of pretty uniques in there. And I had to stretch it out into the last one there. So, let me take you down to what you're wanting to see, I think. Here we go. Snapshot. Ready to go. 61.1 divine. Before we check the total, let's scroll through here, see what's in here. Just kind of take a sort of overview, and then we'll kind of look at it a little more closely. We got 10 raw divine orbs, which in 100 maps, that's okay. A little bit poor, I think, on average. A little bit poor, but not terrible. A Covenant definitely helped with that major drop happening there somewhere in the middle of the session. 3 7 years bad luck, that's pretty bad. 7 Enlightened sounds a little closer to normal. Let's see, we got an Aegis, Aurora 2, this 15 Simulacrums, 195, 2 Dragon Hearts, and no Apothecaries. As you can see, that would have definitely been on the very top list. Unfortunate. A couple patients here, just kind of scroll through the whole thing. There's a whole bunch of stuff in these dump tabs. We're going to take a look a little more closely. As far as good RNG is concerned, I think really only one thing stood out, and that is uniques. So I did run Gilded, Reliquary, Scarabs, and I have, with a Covetous Shrine, I have a little over 200% rarity and something around 30% quant. Without a Covetous Shrine, it's about half of that. And getting a Covenant drop is a big deal. You know, I definitely scrolled across a metric ton of leather belts, heavy belts, spider silk, sages, armors, all kinds of different stuff. So it's not that outside the realm of possibility to get an item like the Covenant. And so I'm definitely going to count it, especially since I was running Reliquary Scarabs. Aegis Aurora also dropped, worth a lot less this league than last league. 2 separate brass domes dropped, both were 2%. A whole bunch of Asena's Gentle Touch and a few other things after that. Doriani's Prototype also dropped. Definitely a far cry from its former glory of multiple divines last league. Chevron's in there too. And I definitely think that on average, I'm not going to get results quite this good for unique drops for this type of farm that I'm doing, especially as fast as it is. Let's take a look at essences. So essence was a big part of the farm and definitely contributed a little bit. But I think I didn't get all that lucky. I actually kind of, by mistake, I took Screaming Essences off of my loot filter. I should have honestly kept them on for doing essences, but at any rate, with Shrieking Deafening, the specialized essences, only 643 chaos of value there. Not too bad, considering it's just free value for spending essentially no extra time in the maps for that. Scarabs are another big part. Scarabs dropped from conversion loot. Definitely saw a handful of major conversion loots dropped. Actually, first want to see how many winged scarabs. I only got 2 winged scarabs total from conversions, but tons and tons of scarabs otherwise from operative strongboxes and conversion scarab rares, especially a whopping 1,575 chaos in there. So that speaks volumes to operative strongboxes, especially. A lot of people think, you know, if you go strongbox, you should really go Wandering Path because it's better. It is pretty good, but losing operative strongboxes hurts quite a bit. Especially when we're doing winged scarabs. That's a lot of operative strongboxes were involved in this here. The last thing, I think, would be divination cards. So here it is. There's a big, very important number that I was wanting to look at is how many gambler cards are dropped. It's important to take a look at this here. And this is what's kind of going to show the spread on how many apothecaries I should have gotten. Now, just as a reminder, estimated divination card weights. This data is a little bit old, and there is some uncertainty to this, but I think it holds pretty true because in all my time farming divination cards in leagues gone past, as well as this league, and no, I don't think any particular divination card had its drop rate nerfed relative to other divination cards in this league or last league or the league before. So in my opinion, this data here holds pretty true based on my own anecdotal evidence as well as a whole lot of collaboration from the community. Some of whom are doing like real test runs, and some of whom are just kind of also providing anecdotal evidence here. Once again, we have the apothecary at 11 waiting there. We have the Dragonheart at 32. On a side point, the Life Thief also drops in Crimson Temple and can be used to check weightings a little bit. The Enlightened 74, 7 years bad luck 67, and all the way up here, way up here with a card that drops multiple amounts in each map, 4,937. And, you know, just real quick, if you take 4,937 divided by 11, you get 449 gambler cards per apothecary. That is how I check the data on here. So with that many cards, 577, essentially I'm supposed to see one apothecary in every 78 maps according to these weightings here. Sounds a bit right. That's actually in fewer maps than I expected, but only marginally. I was thinking it'd be somewhere between 80 and 90 probably, so it's very close. 285 apothecaries in 100 maps. That's not right. Sorry, I forgot the decimal. Let me try that again. 1.285 apothecaries in 100 maps. I should have seen... So I found 0, right? And then this is suggesting I should find 7.827. 7 years bad luck in 100 maps. I only found 3. Now, I've done enough farming this league, especially, to know that I got very unlucky with 7 years bad luck. I've done 100 map sessions, gotten over 10 7 years bad luck, like easily. Has happened multiple times. So to only get 3, this is probably some of the worst RNG I've ever seen on 7 years bad luck, actually, in a 100 map session, personally. just so you're aware, I've looted at least 30, I think, this league, and I've only gotten one apothecary. I mean, that's kind of where we're at on that. Enlightens comes out a lot closer than the others. I found 7. It's suggesting I should got 8.645 Enlightens in a 100 map. And then Dragonheart, there are 2. Should get 3.738. So overall, absolutely I fell short. And I definitely feel like, compared to many other farming sessions, got quite unlucky. So I'm here to tell you, I definitely got unlucky when it came to divination card drops across the board for this session. Got a bit lucky on the unique drops, got very unlucky with divination drops, and I assume scarabs and everything would just kind of even out either way. So you might be thinking in the back of your head, oh, you must have lost currency, right? Surely you lost currency. You blew a gilded divination scarab, winged ambush scarabs. Must have lost currency, right? With all that investment. It's 83 chaos per map invested. But, as you can see here, it says I have 61.1 divine orbs in total in everything that's here. And most of the stuff that's here can be liquidated fairly easily. So the investment was 33.87. Right, so we're going to take the gross 61.1, but we're not done yet. Actually,
Can't do this just yet.
as usual, there are a few things. I was target farming delirium. I did get a few high-end clusters that are not included in the drops from below. Let me actually just verify 1 second here. That enhanced gems are not being seen. Okay, they're not seen. Good. Leveled some enhanced gems, almost leveled almost 18 enhanced gems in total. But you know what? The base cost of these has gone up a little bit. So in leveling 9, I think I'm being really conservative here. I'm pretty sure I got at least 2 divine orbs in value here. So I'm going to add 2 divine orbs to that amount. Yeah, so we're going to add 2. And then this is only about 20 chaos a piece for these. These are all 8 passive cold clusters. I'm not actually going to add anything there. But we did get an Einar's Memory of Harvest Beast. This is over 2 divine orbs, so I'm going to... And a little bit lucky to see that, but I think it's warranted to count that drop in there as well. It's not going to change the result in a crazy amount. So that is going to be the sort of adjusted gross there. We take this number minus 33.87. All right, 31.23. How long did this take? Well, that was the golden strategy. Was time here. Again, this session was very, very much focused on, sacrificing a variety of potential strategies that I could do that would have resulted in more loot per map and taking the more per time approach. It took me about 5.5 hours to do all 100 maps at a rate of roughly 3 minutes per map, plus a little bit of time outside in the hideout in between maps, of course. Puts me right around 5.67 or 68 divines per hour, which I basically knew I was going to make at least 5 divines an hour outside of just atrociously bad RNG. I suppose this number might have been under 5 if I didn't get the Covenant drop, maybe. But anyway, it would have been very close. So, still making decent currency. And 5 divines an hour is right on par with what my Mausoleum strat gives. So that's quite potent to still get that kind of currency per hour on a session that came out rather poor on the RNG, especially for the target farm of apothecaries. But here's what we're going to do next to see really what this strategy should be earning per hour. And again, this is based on data according to this sheet. Also taking into account, or at least giving these weightings credence by taking in a whole lot of anecdotal evidence from yours truly, as well as various community members. There's all kinds of people who have found, 4 or 5 apothecary cards in 100 maps doing strategies similar to this. It happens. RNG is what it is. That's why I pick up the gambler cards, and I do a variety of testing in different ways to see what's dropping more cards and what's dropping less cards. Try to arrive at a strategy that I think is going to take the best that everything has to offer. And this is basically the strategy that I use to get the most currency per hour. Now, personally, I've had some pretty bad luck this league with only one apothecary. Grand total of one apothecary found in roughly 600 maps. Farming strategies that are similar to this. That's really bad. That's the worst I've ever had. But I still have faith in the system that everything is going to turn out all right in the end. So let's take well, first of all, let's visit a little site known as PoE Ninja. Right quick. Divination cards. Apothecary. 59 divines. 59 divines. 59 divines. Really, I gotta see that twice. Okay. So what I'm going to do to figure out the adjusted currency per hour is I'm going to take 1.285 apothecaries times 59. And that's the added divines that I got. And we're just going to add that to the net for an adjusted rate of 107 divine orbs. And take that divided by 5.5. And suddenly you realize that actually this is more like a 20 divine orb per hour strategy in the end. And if you get really lucky, you could get 40 divines an hour, actually. If you found 3 apothecaries in 100 maps, then you probably made something like 40 divines an hour doing this strategy. But if you get 0, you're still making like 5 divines an hour. Not so bad, really. So there's a huge variance, really, but that variance will even itself out over 1,000 maps or so, more than likely. But hopefully that's a little bit eye-opening for some of you guys. You're looking at these strategies, 5 divines an hour, maybe 10 divines an hour seems to be the best there is out there. This league is currency earning strategies really tight. This league, it's hard to find a breakout strategy. Trust me, this is a breakout strategy. This is head and shoulders over basically everything else that I'm familiar with currently going on and being advertised in the league, unless there's some sort of secret strategies that are earning close to 20 divines an hour. God Touch farming last league was one such strategy that did, but as far as I know, nothing else. Nothing else that can even touch this, really. And while I didn't make 19 divines an hour this strategy today, I have every reason to believe, log in tomorrow, farm 100 maps, could make 19, could make 40, could make 60 divines an hour in that particular session. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. RNG being what it is. So that's it as far as the gains there. I'm going to go ahead and do a little gambling session. I don't have anything to do as far as double corruptions temples, but I'm going to corrupt these enhanced supports. I'm going to turn in all these gambler cards, see if anything comes out of that. So I'll be right back, I guess. Okay. Back with gambling results, which there were none for all those 577 gambler cards or whatever. I do have 33 stack decks to open though, so it's such a small number. They're basically from the Divination mirror, or Deli mirror Divination rewards. Getting a few stack decks in the end. Just see, maybe something. Nope. I got another gambler card though. Alright, one last thing to do. The only other sort of major gambling thing I'm about to do is these 9 enhanced supports. I have a 1 in 8 chance of this going up to 4, and if it hits 4, it's worth like 2.5 divines, so that's kind of where you get like 2 divines or so. But here, let's see here. Oh, we got 1 down. Same chance to go down as to go up, so no love there. Ah, there's 1 up. Oh, there's 2 up. Oh, there's 3 up. That's a nice RNG there. So, I guess my good RNG was in corrupting gems, as usual. A nice showcase start to the SNU RNG corrupting gems there. So, pretty nice. Let's see what they are. Oh, apparently they went up in value. Interesting. I definitely short-stacked myself by claiming there's only 2 divines in value there. Apparently that's about 10 divines in value. Okay. Well, that's a nice, moral victory. Anyway, I got to give you my final thoughts on this farm. So again, the name of the game is speed. Reiterating the perception that the more you juice up a map, the slower you have to go, invariably. Not true. You can go extremely fast. You can tailor a strategy, tailor a character, make a character all around the idea of going fast. These shrine effects with the Gull helm last over 2 minutes apiece. You can perfectly, it's perfectly feasible to do the maps I was doing in, within the time frame of a 2-minute shrine, especially when you're getting, let's see, you're getting a guaranteed 6 shrine effects plus 1, 8 shrine effects plus the Gloom shrine, 10 plus an elevated, 11, at least on every map, I'm getting 11 random shrine effects on every single map. 11 random shrine effects. Pretty good chance an acceleration speed shrine is going to be one of those 11. The Gloom shrine will be the 12th of those, and that's not even counting Domination spawning randomly, which happens when all the blocking comes in. 28% chance for Domination to spawn randomly on top of that, so that would be another 6 random shrine effects. So either 11 or 17 random shrine effects on every map. And no, they do not close the map off so that it takes away from strongbox spawning or whatever. The strongboxes can spawn in a variety of different locations in the Crimson Temple. I hope you got some good value out of this farming session. And again, this is about as close as I've ever gotten to giving the community exactly how I go about doing apothecary farming on Crimson Temple, which is by far the most popular farming strategy that I do in any given league. Like, I spend more time on this map farming in this way than really anything else. Again, with the exclusion of God Touch farming there for a solid month last league. Whether it was a cemetery map in 3.17, and it's been Crimson Temple ever since, basically, starting with 3.18. Yeah. Well, that's it. Again, I hope you got some value out of this. Hope you have a nice new year to start. And people asking in the chat, what's next? What's next? That's a good question. I think next is I'm going to do a little bit of farming off stream to try and break this really awful bad streak of roughly 400 maps without an apothecary card, which doesn't go fit very well with the narrative that I should be getting one apothecary every 78 maps. But on my Discord, I keep hearing people right and left showcasing apothecaries, double apothecary drops. Hey, I got my first apothecary in 30 maps. Hey, I got 4 apothecaries in 100 maps. Just getting bombarded by positivity, shall we say. That's one way of looking at it. Anyway, very much enjoying the community. You can join along too. The Discord's in the description down below. My build is there. The build is basically finished at this point, so you were kind of... one reason I saved this video for now at this point in League is because I wanted to showcase my character, and basically it's pinnacle. This is sort of... I mean, there are different ways I can make this build stronger and better, of course, faster, but more or less at the pinnacle of Caustic Arrow, Toxic Rain. Here, definitely going to be swapping to Tornado Shot. People keep asking me, are you going to swap to Tornado Shot? Yes. But I need a bit more currency. As you can see, not exactly floating very much currency right now, am I? So, need to find a few apothecaries. Get myself 100 divines in the bank, then I think I can make that swap. So that will be coming in the relatively near future, I hope. Anyway, stay tuned for more videos. More to come. Again, have a happy new year. See you next time.